Good evening, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call this regular City Commission meeting of April 9th, 2018 to order. I'm going to read the agenda tonight because I have a couple of changes, so it'll just be easier for me to go through with those changes. After the call to order, we'll have an approval of the agenda, followed by our invocation by Pastor Thigpen of Archer Family Life Church of God. We appreciate you coming out here in the blizzard and storm tonight. We appreciate it. We'll follow that with our Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to, before we get into our presentations, I'd like to pause since we are on a school night and we have the family here to recognize that tonight is the last meeting of Commissioner Jason McGehee. I know that we all have some things that we'd like to say, so we'll put that in before we do our presentations. Then we will move on to our presentations. Item A is a business spotlight, Newberry Center for Music and Dance. I'm going to pull item B because we actually made that proclamation at the last meeting that April will be Water Conservation Month. So new item B will be the election candidates 2-minute presentations. We'll have for Group 1, incumbent Ricky Coleman. Mark Clark's not able to be here tonight. He's hosting a wild beast feast. So he wasn't able to make it. And then we will follow that with Commissioner for Group 3, incumbent Monty Farnsworth, who probably needs to silence his cell phone now. And then we'll have citizen. Oh, was it? I'm just usual.
I pulled up our website and Westfest.
Oh, it was a shameless plug for Westfest. If you haven't seen the screen, we are a little preoccupied right now with Westfest. We'll move on to our citizen announcements. These are the non-controversial 2-minute announcements. Our consent agenda, which has the March 26, 2018 regular commission meeting minutes, the proclamation recognizing April as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and our invoices. Then we'll move to public hearings and ordinances, which we have none. Agenda items, fire station debt alternatives. Item B is tree trimming and removal contract awards. Item C is road resurfacing contract award. Finally, we'll have comments from the manager, attorney, city clerk, commission, mayor, and citizens before we adjourn. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with all those changes? I have a motion from Commissioner Glanzer and a second from Commissioner Coleman. Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And Pastor Thigpen, if you would come down to join us, we'll rise and remain standing for the pledge after the invocation.
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for the invitation. It's my pleasure tonight. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this day, God. Thank you for the rain. Thank you for the opportunity you've given us to gather here, Lord. Thank you for those that are willing to step up and be leaders in our community, God. I ask you, Lord, that you give wisdom, you give guidance tonight as we go through this agenda, that you would just bless, God. I pray that you bless the staff as they carry out those orders that go forward tonight. And Lord, most of all, we just want to give you praise and thank you for the freedom that we have in this country. God, I pray that you would allow us to return to where we once were, to find common ground and link up arm in arm, move forward as a nation. We just thank you and we love you tonight. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor. We appreciate you. Drive safe in the rain. Okay. At this point, we'd like to take a few minutes to go ahead and recognize the 4 years of service from Commissioner McGehee. I seem to be missing page 10 of my speech, but oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'll try to keep it a little shorter than that. You know, every election cycle, we seem to hear a lot about how the candidates and the incumbents are not politicians. We call ourselves public servants. We call ourselves leaders. We bend over backwards not to use the word politician. But I'm a history teacher. And the word politician didn't begin as a dirty word. At the beginning of this country, our politicians were the best of us. They guided the people, they led the people by the example of their lives. They were learned, they were measured, they were committed to the betterment of their communities. And they were proud of the honor of representing their people, of having the chance to be a politician for their country. They were rare then, and they are rare today. But to me at least, Commissioner McGee, he has earned the title of a politician right from the pages of our history. He has served his community without thought to personal gain or advancement, as he proves in this moment of voluntarily stepping away from the dais. He has voted his principles in the face of public scrutiny and scorn too many times for us to review here tonight. He's come to each and every meeting prepared, ready to engage in an open dialogue to seek the best outcome for the most people. He has tempered his judgment with Christian charity, and he has tempered his charity with his principles of equity. And he has given us all 4 years of his life. In that time, he has helped make each of our lives a little bit better. And he has helped set the stage for all of our lives to continue to get better in the years to come. In 10, 20, 30 years' time, residents of Newberry will experience a quality of life that simply wouldn't have been possible without the policies that he helped to establish over the last 4 years. That's a lifetime of accomplishments in just over 4 years. As impressive and worthy of respect as that is, it is not what I am most thankful to Jason for. I want to personally thank Jason for the gift that he has given all of us, which is time, the most precious gift you can give. He's given us time away from his wife, time away from his daughters. He's fought for Newberry in front of other governing boards when he could have been having dinner with his family. He spent hours studying for commission meetings when he could have been having tea parties with those two beautiful little girls sitting right there. We can never thank him enough for all that he has sacrificed for us. But Jason, from all of us, we do thank you for that gift. And if you'd meet me down here, we have some things we'd like to give you. Is this on? This is a certificate of appreciation from the commission, from the city of Newberry. It says, this is certified that Jason McGee is hereby recognized for public service to the citizens of Newberry, Florida, for service on the City of Newberry Commission. And we appreciate you, sir. At this time, we'd like to invite the family up to get some last pictures here. Before we enter in, I know the commissioners have some things they'd like to say, and Commissioner McGee has some things they'd like to say, but I know before everybody starts crying and you all look all nice and pretty, come on up, get some pictures. I'll be glad to be a photographer.
There you go.
Should we just go down the line? We're going to have some commissioner comments. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one last thing. We have these lovely knockout roses are here for you. Miss Judy, would you like to tell them about those? They are symbolic, not because they're called knockout roses, but because they will grow for as long as you have given service and longer. We want you to have them. We want you to remember them. I apologize if I'm stepping on anybody's toes. We'd love you to plant them. We'd be honored, and we want to watch them grow as the policies that you help set in place will grow in this city. With that, Commissioner Coleman.
All right, I'm shooting from the hip here, but Jason, pretty much the last 4 years, especially when we were running the first year, my rock, the man that has pulled me off the ledge numerous of times there for me. He's always been there for me, and man, it's just unbelievable. I hate that you're leaving, and man, you're sure going to be missed, especially by me, man. I really appreciate it.
4 years go by really quick, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, I mean, 4 years ago we started this, and we've been through a lot together, and I really appreciate having you as giving your insight and your knowledge, and I mean, it's just good to have someone you can actually refer to and talk to about stuff under the sunshine law. Nothing behind closed doors, people. So don't even start with me. But even some personal things, not all just political, of course. And it's going to be a sad moment when I hopefully come to the next meeting and you're not there. But good luck to you for the remainder of your life, sir.
Well, Jason and I were friends before. We have been friends during our tenure here together, and we will remain friends afterwards. I just appreciate everything that he's done for this community, and I hope everybody else does too.
I will strive in my tenure, however long it is, to be as good as you have been for this commission. And during the time when I was running last year, I've only been here a year, so I haven't had the pleasure of serving it for 4 years like you have. But you were so helpful to me. And in the last year, I've missed talking to you because of the Sunshine Law. We can't talk anymore. But you've just been such a mentor to me in other ways, just your example. And you set the bar, Jason. And we'll miss you a lot. And I'm going to stop because I'm going to cry.
Scott, would you like?
I'd love to do that. You know, mother and father out in the audience here, and they've got to be busting with pride, Jason. And of course, not all commissioners get this when they retire, and certainly this is befitting you. And what we see on staff level is a number of families that have lent their sons to our commission and spent time here and been a public service and servant and given their time away from the family to do what is the work of Newberry. And that's really one of the things that makes this community so special. And if you look at the lineage of families that have donated their time and leadership to this community, and that's why Newberry, you compare it to any other 6,000 member city, and we pull our own wagon in so many ways, and that's why that's happened. And you've exemplified all those things with your professionalism. Whenever we have an issue coming up, I know your discussion is going to be well studied. It's very professional in the way you deliver it, and you're a very calm demeanor in the midst of a storm. And we, as staff, very much, and particularly from the legal side, appreciate that. So thank you so much for what you've done. And the other thing that I would note to you is that we see family members come on, and then they take a hiatus. So come on back. When you're ready to do it, just come on back. And we'd love to have additional service again. So we look forward to your retirement from city office and spending time with your little girls, but we also look forward to you coming back. So thank you.
Commissioner McGehee, there's I could echo, and I do echo the sentiments of everybody else on the commission. I think that as a public servant, this is just a chapter, the ending of one chapter. You strike me as the kind of person that was very committed to your community and would do all you could for your community before you took on the role of city commissioner in the role of active citizen. And I suspect that you're going to return to that role. I see you as the kind of guy that's going to be committed to public service for the remainder of your life. It's in your blood, and you exude it. The the hallmarks of Jason McGehee when after working with you for 4 years is your passion for community is unparalleled, or maybe paralleled by 5 other elected officials in this room. But it takes a special kind of love for community to do what you do. For that tremendous paycheck that you earn. I think we figured it up that elected officials get about 10 cents an hour on average. But your passion for community, your innovative spirit, there's not a technology available out there yet thought of that you haven't considered as to how it would work in Newberry and carried a torch for, from AMI to broadband to you name it, our use of social media platforms, in large part, you've had a big hand in rolling out for the city, and just your selfless service. I don't know that the average resident of 6,000, I don't know as well as his family does, but the average resident in Newberry doesn't realize the number of hours you put in. I know. I get the calls at 11, what's going on? I get the calls at 6, what's going on? Somebody's concerned about this, and I know that you are fielding the majority of those without actually contacting me. And so I think that Newberry, well, I know, it's not I think, I know that Newberry is a better place as a result of your efforts and your service. You have demonstrated how much you care about our community, and you've also been a guiding hand in demonstrating how much you care about staff. You've always rushed to staff, and you have really brought the community together. There was a time when it seemed like it was staff against the residents here, and in your 4-year term, you've always been the first to say, no, the staff is part of the city. We're a great city because of staff, and have always championed that, and I and staff appreciate that. So just thank you. I look forward to working with you in your next chapter, because I know you're going to be around.
Ms. Judy, no pressure.
No pressure, but it's always hard to follow a city manager. Jason, Commissioner McGehee, I guess what stands out most in my mind about you are the conversations that we had when you first was running for a commissioner seat, and there were challenges, as we all know, and I will always admire you in the way that you dealt with them, and your professionalism, and the love of your family and this community that has always shown in everything that you do and say, or the statements that you make up here, and I'm sure in your private life as well. I will miss you, but I wish you the best of luck in the next step, the next phase, and don't be a stranger.
You're not off the hook just yet. We'll try it this way. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to say anything? I know the family came out and here. Anybody like to come on up? Come on down.
I'd just like to say I think you've been a great commissioner because first and foremost you started out as a great man. Dilly dilly.
That was pre-programmed. Commissioner McGee, would you like to make some remarks at your final meeting?
Well, first of all, this work? All right. First of all, thank you all for the comments. It's when you sit up here, you get a lot of comments. They're just not always good comments. So it's nice to hear the good things coming from people you really care about. So I appreciate all of you kind of chiming in. I'm going to try to keep this short. I spent a couple months kind of trying to figure out how to write this out and whittle it down. I was even working on it yesterday, so here it goes. First off, I'd like to say thank you all for allowing me to represent you for this last 4 years. We've had some really good things happen during that time, but I'd be lying if I said it was all sunshine and roses, and I enjoyed every day of the experience. This is a tough, often thankless job, and unless you've sat in this seat, you have no idea about the pressure, the criticism, nor the sleepless nights that you'll be rewarded with by being elected. I know that there are some that have done this, or there might even be some sitting up here that say, you know, it's really not that bad. To them, I'd really like to know your secret, because I might not be stepping down. My makeup is, I don't know how to turn it off. I cannot turn it off no matter how hard I try. I go on vacation. My wife can tell you, I go on vacation and I'm always looking at my phone, waiting for that next call, that next email. It's just, you know, when I set out to do this, I was all in. So, you know, you can kind of understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. This last 4 years of my life have been dedicated to making this city a better place, many times at the expense of my family, my friends, and my health. This morning, taking my daughters to school, I said how I thought it was cool that they were going to be able to come to my meeting tonight, that this would be my last one. And they were here for my first. They both started clapping. I said, "Why are you clapping?" Their response was, "Because you'll be home more on Monday nights," which reassured me that I had made the right decision. When I first got involved with local politics, I really got immersed into social media because I wanted to make our government as transparent as we possibly could, and this was a way to reach even more citizens and get them engaged. We did just that, but in turn created a platform in which unfounded accusations and untruths could easily be spread as if they were the gospel, mainly by those who hid behind fake profiles or would rather just attack instead of asking questions. I saw some whoppers over my time up here too, from allegations of the good old boys when we first started out, looking out for themselves, to commissioners being accused of overcharging customers for water just to line their pockets, which, by the way, I still have not gotten a check, which I'm kind of upset about, to even being called ISIS-loving atheists. That was a quote that was on social media because we did not put up Christmas lights one year because they had outlived their lifespan and didn't represent us as the city we were all working so hard to become. One thing I have learned is you have to have tough skin to deal with the criticisms, but there's more to my life than just me. This is also affecting my family. I say all this as a warning to all of you who participate in this sort of behavior. You're going to continue to push good people out, wanting to serve local government, and be left with those who are self-serving and beholden to a few and not everybody as a whole. Don't let this happen. Think before you post and get the facts. All too often we're quick to criticize first and then fill in the blanks with the facts as they slowly trickle in. There's nothing wrong with criticism when it's warranted, but from what I've seen during my time, most of it is not, even until you have the facts in front of you. My wife has had to put up with more than I'd ever imagined she'd have to. She is very mama bear when it comes to me and people going after me. And there have been many times when I, or us as a group up here, have been accused of things where I've had to beg her not to respond on social media. And she didn't, and for that I thank her. Honey, I love you, and thank you for always being there for me to vent to. You're now free to just let it rip. Politics suck, period, especially small-town politics, where every move you make and every vote you cast are magnified, and the alliances you have can quickly become enemies and vice versa. City Clerk Judy Rice was talking about it when she was speaking. She told me shortly after I took office that many of her years in this city, she has seen many good friends become bitter enemies in spans as short as 6 months, all because of a stance or the way someone voted. It is absolutely crazy. People have no idea until you've sat up here. I tell people that all the time. Until you've sat up here and know what we go through, it's almost like we're on our own little group. And you know, even your spouses, you know, they know some of it, but they don't know. I know I protect mine from a lot of the stuff. So, you know, it's always support this person and you're an outcast. Support that one, you're a racist or a bigot or a misogynist. It's not and never should be a binary choice that is to be held against you, and that's the biggest problem I see with our society. Disagreements are fine and I believe healthy, but shunning people or their businesses for who and what side of an issue they support is not the way we should be. It does nothing but further divide this city, and I know what I'm saying is probably falling on deaf ears, but if you really think about it, you'll understand what I'm saying, and it's the truth. I thought about what I'd say to you all up here as I leave, you know, for the past 3 months or so, and honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this without getting emotional about it. It really started hitting me Saturday. This was it. I'm just 2 short days away from my last meeting and 4 from my last day up here. This has been quite a ride, and although we may not agree on everything, I've really enjoyed serving with you and getting to know you and your families. I hope you all continue standing up and protecting our home rule authority, continue closing up those enclaves, pursuing expansion of our infrastructure, working on bringing that agritech research part to fruition, and I'd really like to see somebody pick up that fiber internet for this city. I know we've had the feasibility report, and although the numbers weren't what we thought were favorable, but I believe there's a way to start small and build it out. With the creative minds up here, I believe it's possible. The groundwork's been laid. We just need to find a way to make it happen. How many times have we been told up here, you can't do this? That's not the way this works. You can't do this. You can't. Yeah, exactly. I could list a lot more things that we've done up here, but I don't want to keep you all here all night. Most of all, I just want you all to continue doing good work. Anyone who doubts your commitment to the city doesn't know what they're talking about. So I'm going to leave you all with my last will and testament like we did in high school. Several of us did in high school. So I've got something for each of y'all, so here it goes. City Clerk Judy Rice, I want to thank you for always being there to talk to. Even when I was just a candidate my first time running, you always went out of your way to make sure I had all my paperwork turned in on time and kept me out of trouble. You really scared me a couple of times with, you know, the fines and stuff like that. But I leave you with a group of candidates who you don't have to badger to turn in those said treasury reports, and the rest of your days as city clerk with short commission meetings. Our attorney, Scott, thank you and your team, especially Courtney, for keeping us out of legal trouble. Your advice has proven to be extremely valuable, and your efforts to get things worked out with contracts have been a huge help, whether it was the sheriff's contract or the electric franchise fees. I leave you with a huge thank you for your work for us. Commissioners going forward that make good decisions, therefore making your job a lot easier, and another World Series for your beloved Cubs. Rick, you've had my back from the day I've met you. When I first ran for office, I was faced with some very serious accusations that were so absurdly false they could not have only threatened my chance of winning my election, but destroyed my life and my business that we were just starting to get going. You came to my defense, nearly putting yourself in legal and or political jeopardy. I'll never forget that, and I will always be grateful to you for having my back, and I in turn will have yours. I may not agree with all your actions or thoughts, but I have never and never will question your friendship or your love for this city. I leave you with my water cup, which you ask me for every meeting, full of ice water, and a package of orange slices in your drawer for when you forget them. I'm sure you've got some in there. Monty, I've always thought of you as the wild card because I never knew what was going to come out of your mouth during meetings. You're one of the funniest people I've ever met, and I mean that in a good way. Even when I was angry or feeling down, I knew that you'd say something at our meetings that either made me chuckle or outright laugh. And I'd spend time doing this, so I wasn't on camera, laughing at you. I'm going to miss sitting up here with you, but I'm sure I'll see you around town, more than likely at my shop, where we will be free to discuss all that is going on in the city since we don't have to worry about sunshine law anymore. Continue your work pulling people from the jaws of death, as you like to tell us all the time. And I'll leave you with any candy that's in my drawer, so you don't even have to ask for it anymore. And a pack of pens, since you never seem to be able to find one. Hey, you've got one. All right, man. That's good. Tim, although there were times up here we didn't see eye to eye, I've always respected you for sticking to your principles. Your words and arguments have always made me think twice about the decisions I make up here on the dais, which I think not only have made me a better commissioner, but a better person overall, something I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. I leave you with a balanced budget, a low millage rate, and the hope that one day there will come a grant that you can vote yes on. Joy, we've only worked together over this last year and known each other for a couple of years before that, but it's been a pleasure. I must say, I was concerned when you first got up here because I didn't know what to expect. Since sometimes there's a change between what you see as a candidate and what a commissioner becomes. I have to say, I think you've done a great job in bringing another viewpoint to this dais while continuing to work with us to move forward as a city. Your first year or so, you're just learning the ropes. I think this next year, we're going to get to see your true potential. I leave you with continued growth, continued success in your business, and always an open invitation to call me if you ever need to talk. Mike, hiring you will go down in my book as the best move we ever made during my time up here, and we've made some big ones. From the electronic franchise fees to diversify our revenues to the endless months you've spent getting us out of the MSTU for law enforcement and into a contract, to the numerous negotiations you've made on behalf of the city at our direction. For your tireless effort has saved our citizens hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's made everybody up here look good. For that, I will always be thankful that you reached out to us during our interview process and convinced us to give you an interview. Your ability to take our crazy ideas, especially mine, and make them realities by thinking outside the box are extremely commendable. I leave you for the rest of your days with short meetings, easy negotiations, and all the concerts you and Melinda can handle for the rest of your days. In fact, I'm going to throw in 2 free tickets to Westfest this next Sunday, headlined by up and rising star Mo Pitney. So make sure you're there. And in fact, I'm going to give everybody free tickets. So that's, yeah, everybody gets a ticket. I had to get the shameless Westfest plug in there for you. To the rest of staff, when I came into office, morale was pretty low overall, and I've always thought you're only as good as the people you're around. If employees aren't happy, then you're not going to be very productive. I fought for raises for you all that were long overdue, even when I was asked why I was wasting time and energy in doing so, because many of you don't live inside the city limits, therefore you can't vote. I fought for it because it was the right thing to do, and I hope it's made a difference. I leave you with budgets that meet all your needs, not all of your wants. Even though I'm gone, I still believe in being fiscally conservative. And a sense of pride in this city I hope you carry with you until you leave your employment here. I will always think of you all as my extended family. To the citizens, thank you for giving me 4 years to leave my mark and the ability to leave on my own terms. I appreciate all those who asked me to run again or were upset when I didn't qualify. That meant a lot. I'm happy I didn't overstay my welcome, and I will miss making the difference, but I'm ready to move on to another chapter in my life. I leave you all with a city that is fiscally sound and in order. The table is set for big things, and I can't wait to sit back and see what happens. To the person filling this seat tomorrow, thank you for taking on this challenge, because that's what it is. I told my wife about 3 months after I became a commissioner, which since I've shared with quite a few of you, that I believe if we passed an ordinance up here that would mail a $100 bill to every household, the day our citizens started getting them, about a third would be calling complaining they got a $100 bill and not 520s. That's the kind of thankless job that you're going to be taking on. The scrutiny and sleepless nights when you have to make big decisions, which will come, trust me, will make you wonder why you signed up for this, but in turn, this is one of the most rewarding things you'll ever do. I don't regret anything I've done, even the stuff that was hard or at the time I thought was just too much to take. It all made me a better person and the city a better place to live. I leave you with the patience to listen, the ability to make decisions without letting emotion cloud your judgment, and the will to push through when you don't think you can do it anymore. I have all the confidence in the world that whomever takes this seat will not only do an outstanding job, but just to be sure, don't worry, I'll let you know if you're not. To Mayor Marlowe, the one that convinced me to run, I'll never forget calling you, letting you know I was going to start a business in Newberry and needed some guidance in navigating the waters that were government. We hadn't spoken in nearly a decade, but little did I know that was the start of us becoming such close friends. What started off as wanting to open a business turned into starting a Facebook forum to increase transparency. I'm sorry about that one. That was all my fault. We didn't realize it would turn into the monster it became, to eventually becoming a commissioner. Even though we've known each other for decades, we've really become close friends over these last 4 years, especially this last year with you as mayor. And I appreciate all the work you put in behind the scenes that many will never know you do. I've enjoyed working with you on moving some big legislation forward and setting the table for future commissions. Now I'll just have to wait for you to step down so we can sit back and hopefully one day enjoy the fruits of our labor. Or sit in the audience and critique, constructively critique. I want to thank you for all that you do for the city. Newberry's in great shape because of your efforts. I leave you with a couple of nights off a week to spend with your wife Lauren and kids Emma, Jane, and Logan, and an open invitation for a cold one to fill me in on what's happening. You name the time and place, and I'll be there like you have for me so many times. Last but not least, I want to thank my wife, Leslie. I said I wasn't going to do this. I want to thank my wife, Leslie, and my daughters. Out of everybody, you three have sacrificed the most. Listening to me rant when things weren't going right, or I had a huge decision looming. The late nights that I was away from you all because duty called, you're getting your husband and dad back. Leslie, thanks for listening to me, even when I knew you didn't want to. Thank you for holding it in and not saying anything when I was attacked, and I know this was a big one. Thank you for talking me off the ledge when all I wanted to do was quit. You've been amazingly understanding throughout this whole time, and I want you to know I couldn't have made it without you. Every crazy idea I've had, you've been there to support it, whether it was starting a business or running for a city commission seat, or hey, let's just do both of them at the same time. That sounds like a good idea. I'm forever indebted to you, and I leave both you and the girls with more Monday night family dinners, less phone calls when I'm at home or on vacation, and all my love. You're the driving force behind what I have done and what I will in the future. With that said, this long, drawn-out speech is over with, and I'm signing off. I won't say I'll never run again, but this will more than likely be the last time you're going to see me up here in this seat. I want to thank all of you for the memories, and God bless you, your families in this city. Thank you.
Mike, the next time Commissioner McGehee retires from this, will you remind me to make sure we have a box of tissues in the audience and all over here, please? But thank you for the kind words for all of us, from all of us. Yeah, all words well worth being spoken, so we do appreciate you. And before everybody starts crying again, we'll give the next gift to your family the ability to leave the meeting early and not have to stay here till the end before, as we move into the FSA testing tomorrow. Good luck. I know you guys have it, and you'll do well with your father at home to help you with that homework now. I hear Common Core is a lot of fun, so he'll needs the extra time to learn how to do those math problems himself. Mike, will you lead us into the next section of this, the presentations, I believe we have the Newberry Center for Music and Dance here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, every month or so, we spotlight one of the businesses here in Newberry. And this month, we're going to spotlight the Newberry Center for Music and Dance. Tricia Roy is the president or the head of that entity. We have a very well done staff report, and I'm going to hit a few highlights, and then maybe Tricia will share a word or two with us about her plans for her dance studio. And it's more than just a music and dance studio. She'll tell you all about that. But Tricia's thought of opening her business in Newberry was to bring culture to Newberry, a different style of culture, and she has certainly done that. Tricia is also an international realtor and an instructor for diversity and sustainability, which is quite an odd pairing, but she does it very nicely. She's trained in Hinduistic classical music, and I'm not even going to suggest where you are trained at, but it is an Indian music institution. She's also a published author and has many publications in newspapers and magazines, also a poet. Very interesting. And she's an avid nature photographer, dance choreographer, and practices karate. That's impressive. And she's also a tenant in a building that the city owns, but now just you name the terms. We didn't understand about the karate thing. So whatever terms you want, you've got, Tricia.
You should talk to my sensei. He'll say I'm very safe. He considers me a wimp in sparring, and I always get into trouble because I'm not very good at sparring.
I understand. Well,
But
if you would share with us, please.
I'm sorry?
Would you share with us kind of?
Absolutely. So here's my thinking. When I first, I like rural properties. One of my degrees is in ecology, so I always love rural properties, and I've worked all over North Central Florida. And I used to come in from different places in Alachua County, and I would come in from the west, and I would think, here it says where nature and culture meet. I understand the nature part, fantastic. It's beautiful out here. But we don't see a lot of culture over here. And here I am, I have very deeply embedded cultural roots, which are not necessarily what all of you know about, but it is Indian culture. That's all I know. But I'm not necessarily trying to bring only that to everybody. My goal is I teach one class that is on Monday nights. That's all I have available in my schedule to teach. And it's been received very well. People from Gainesville are coming to my class. If you happen to, if anybody wants to participate, it's at 7 o'clock on Monday nights. It's probably inconvenient for many people, but unfortunately that's the only day I have available because of my other commitments. My goal is to get other instructors to come and teach other formats. I have a lady who wants to teach African dance. I have a music instructor. He is very well known in Gainesville. He plays at different venues, and he teaches also. He wants to teach drums, string instruments. He's Spanish, and he's very multicultural, and he's very talented. He wants to teach also, provided we have a class size. So my office across the street, I have a real estate brokerage, and as any of you know, real estate is not done in the office. Would you not agree, Joyce? So my office is there. I have a desk in there, but the part of it I already also converted into a studio. And it's the perfect space for a small size dance class or a music class to begin. And my goal is, if we have enough participation from the citizens of Newberry, and if there is enough people who are enthused about it, then we can build it forward. There are enough grants available, public money, government money, I'm forgetting, Department of Agriculture, USDA money, where because of the size of our town, we can qualify, but we have to have a basis first. We have to have a kind of a starting point where we begin with something. So that's where I am going with this, and I hope there will be more enthusiasm, not because of anything, but because I think it will enrich the lives of all our children growing up. Because I grew up through 14 years of education, and I also had to do rivas, which means everyday practice of my music. And I know, and even now I practice my karate every day, and I know that enriches me. That discipline of that enriches me as an adult. I'm sure that framework will enrich our children. So that's where I'm coming from. I do not teach children. My class is for adults, but there can be other instructors who will teach children. So that is where I'm coming from.
Thank you for coming and presenting. And Ms. Tricia, if you're involved in it, then I know the enthusiasm will continue to grow, because you're nothing but a big ball of enthusiasm. And ever since I've had the first pleasure of talking with you, every conversation is an exciting potential for the future of Newberry. I'm glad to have you downtown. I think it's awesome to have you right next to the Firehouse Gallery. We got our own little cultural center, and you're a big part of that. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so
for what
much,
you're
Mayor
doing.
Marlowe. You have been a great help and a fantastic resource for me, because I have made Newberry my home. I've only been here 4 years, and having come from where I moved to the United States less than 20 years ago. It's a complete world apart. I don't have any family over here, and
Well, you do now.
I do. Believe it or not, I do. I always feel I do. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Drive safe in this rain. I'm not sure if it's still raining out there or not, but. All right, we've already done the water conservation, so we'll begin with the incumbent Ricky Coleman's 2-minute speech. I think you probably step down there, that way the camera gets on your face the whole time and get a nice close-up shot.
I'm gonna make this one.
And now-
I'm gonna have it done in 2 minutes, I promise.
Rick, you know the
this
green
time.
light means go, and the yellow is 30 seconds. No,
What?
just checking.
Don't be quick on the draw now. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve Newberry the last 4 years. Our commission has been very successful, possibly too successful given the rate of the growth here. People love Newberry, and I'm happy to contribute to all this success. I am part of a great team from commission, the staff, the committee members, and our volunteers. Together, we have something to really be proud of here in Newberry. Together, we have built new infrastructure, made multiple upgrades, and added onto the fire station. Together, we have lowered taxes and still improved services. Together, we have increased transparency and, more importantly, trust. As a commission, our job is to provide leadership, direction, feedback, and oversight. We set policy the staff carries out on a day-to-day basis. It is not my policy alone, but our policy. I am but one voice, and though this is a part-time job, it's a full-time commitment. You know, as a commission, we are in a very unique position. We make decisions now which may not affect anything 10 years out, and we make decisions which affect tomorrow. We see things behind the scenes which take months to prepare, but only last 5 minutes. We see things, nothing is linear, nothing is black and white, nothing is constant. You have to be flexible, goal-oriented, good at time management, and all these things combined. It is not always easy, but I won't trade it for a minute. I hope I've proven up for the task to continue serving. Thank you in advance for supporting me and for supporting me tomorrow. If you don't, still please go out and vote. A lot of people have fought and died for that privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Farnsworth. That was a great story you told at the debate. Maybe you could rehash it again. I enjoyed it. I didn't know how it was going to end. Yeah.
Oh, I was waiting on the green light.
She'll start it when you start. She's professional. Now we're wasting time.
You know, the last 4 years has been awesome, and we've made a lot of positive strides in the city of Newberry, and pretty much every day or so, someone comes up to me and said, man, we like what you guys have been doing up there, and we really appreciate what you've accomplished, and hope you continue to keep on doing it. So my hope is that the citizens of Newberry will allow me to keep on doing it. And I do appreciate my fellow commissioners, the staff, and the mayor, of course, who has guided me in many ways from my errors. And like I said, just come out and vote tomorrow, and hopefully it won't be raining too bad, and you guys will come out in big numbers. And I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move to citizens' announcements, just remind everybody to come out and vote and to bring an umbrella, because the weather forecast is for rain. Ms. Judy, would you, since we're talking about the election, would you like to go ahead, and while we have everybody's kind of review what's going to happen tomorrow and where they can set up?
Okay. When you come to the municipal building tomorrow morning, no matter what time it is, there will be signs that will indicate that no soliciting past this point. It's 100 feet from the entrance of the building, and it's our poll workers take a rope and actually measure it off. So, but you can also set up on this side. Please do not block the entrance of City Hall, but you're welcome to set up in the yard or in the back, or it's public property. And then do you have anything specific?
I think that's the main thing, 100 feet back. And if you do choose to set up, the Kincaid building is also public property. It's roped off with that orange construction tape, because that means the building is condemned and it could fall down on you. So if you're going to be inviting people to come in, try to, if you choose that route, please give yourself a buffer there between yourself and your potential voting constituents and the dangerous building that is very clearly marked off with the orange rope fence.
Mayor Marlowe, I would
Yes,
also
ma'am.
Like to add that we have a deputy, and she will enforce that 100 feet distance of electioning, whatever is the terminology for that. Please do not go within that area and solicit or speak to other electors that come in. We have had an issue with that. So please remember, please stay outside the 100-foot barrier, and have
The constituents will come to you if they want to talk to you. So you set up and offer them a dry place to sit for a minute under a tent, and it's from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And what kind of IDs can they bring that will be accepted?
Photo ID or photo ID and a voting card. Also, remember, as a reminder, the canvassing board will be meeting in this room at 6:30 to canvass vote by mail ballots. So we will be in this room until after 7 canvassing ballots, and this is where we will announce the results of the election, and then I'll go next door and we'll post on the door the results as well. And that's new this year, so that's why I thought I would go ahead and put that out there.
It's always good. So at 6:30, the canvassing board will meet here. We've had a high vote by mail turnout, so we expect that to go. Don't let the rain stop you tomorrow. Please come on out and vote. All the candidates will have tents pitched, so you can make your way up to the door, one tent at a time, and meet any of the last candidates that you haven't had a chance to do so. And like I say, we'll announce both here and back over there,
definitely,
so
both
that and we're moving over here so that we can get started early, so we don't hold everybody up, and so we can have a quiet place. This will still be open to the public, but if you come over here to watch, please watch quietly in the back. If you want to stay and campaign or talk politics, stay in the municipal building. We'll come back over there as well. You're, again, it's open to the public. You're welcome to sit here and watch, but canvassing board does need a little bit of ability to talk to each other in a quiet atmosphere. Is that all the campaign news? Anybody want to cover anything
The
else, Ms.
public is
Judy?
also invited to watch the poll workers as they close down.
As they
and
close
reconcile
down.
their books. I ask that you have mercy.
We'll
and-
go as
and
fast
keep it
as
to a
we
low
can.
roar.
That's right.
If possible, thank you.
All right. Scott, do we have anything else we failed to communicate with people? All right. We'll move on to citizens announcements. This is the 2-minute non-controversial. Anybody have anything that they want to say on camera the night before? What you got? You can wait for either one. You have 5 minutes at the end.
The kindergarten roundup at Newberry Elementary starts on May 2nd at 2 p.m. They're asking you to register early so that the school has the right number of teacher hired for the right number of students enrolled. You can check the newberryelementary.sbac.edu website for all the information that you need to finalize the registration. And the extended day enrichment program, that's the after-school program, will begin accepting registration for new students enrolling at the elementary school, and especially for new kindergartners. Now, those slots are so limited that you need to contact the EDEP coordinator, which is Amber Alexandra, at 352-472-1156. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read? I have a motion from Commissioner Martin, a second from Commissioner McGehee. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion passes unanimously. We have no public hearings. We'll move on to our first agenda item, fire station debt alternatives. Dallas prepped us for this at the last meeting, so hopefully everyone's had a chance to kick this around in the back of your brain. Remind those watching, though, Dallas, where we're at.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners. As the mayor mentioned at one of the previous meetings, we discussed this item, and it was the consent of the commission that we waited until there was a full commission. So just going over the item again, as the commission knows, in February of 2017, the commission issued commercial debt with Capital City for the renovation and expansion of our fire station. The original loan amount was $395,000, and the commission pledged our fire assessment revenues against that. We have annual, semi-annual payments, and we have a current interest rate of 2.28%. We've only made one payment on the debt. That was in November, and we have another one scheduled for May 2nd. Since we've had a rocky relationship with Capital City recently, it was discussed with staff that we may look at some alternatives for that debt. And so staff has 3 alternatives for how to handle that debt remaining with Capital City, which is currently $366,000. So we have three options. The numbers have changed a little bit since the last time we presented this, since the Fed raised the interest rates. So our interest rates have gone up a little bit. Your first option is to refinance the debt with another lending institution. Discussions with other lending institutions indicate that the rates would probably be between 3.25 and 3.75%. Again, and our current interest rate is 2.28%, so it would be between a 1 and a 1.5% increase in interest. The second option would be to pay off the debt with our existing reserves. We do have sufficient reserves to make that payment. Staff would recommend that if the commission goes with that option, that we would continue to fund the debt payments to ourselves and repay the general fund reserves. Just instead of paying Capital City, we'd make those payments back into our general fund reserves, similar to how we've done with other debt issues. This option, over the course of the loan, once you take in how much we'd lose in interest for paying it off, but how much we would save in interest from not paying Capital City, over the course of the 5 years would be an increase to the city of about $14,000 we would save between the 2 interest rates. And then the third option is to keep the debt at Capital City Bank and continue to make the semi-annual payments.
You know, obviously our dispute with Capital City is ongoing, but I would hate to think that I think we've made the point. You know, we pulled the money out. I don't want anyone to feel like we have to sever each and every single tie. And moving forward in the future, it's certainly possible that Capital City would be a lower lender than some other institution. So, you know, I'm hopeful that we can. I'm still hopeful that we can resolve our dispute with Capital City. But if that is the only impetus behind this, I would just say that, you know, we may not need to go down that road. With that being said, commission comments to staff. Commissioner Clayton.
So on number 2, is it a 5-year note we have?
It was originally a 6-year note. We have about 5.5 years left.
I mean, so it's like a no-brainer if you say $14,000 and we have it in reserves and we can pay ourselves back. That would be my choice to do that.
Commissioner Farnsworth. Not everybody jump for the mic at once.
I'm in agreement with Joy. I think that'd be the best route to take if we're financially capable of doing that.
Commissioner McGehee.
Without those, without the interest, the accrued interest on that, how fast can we accelerate that payment back? I mean, is the only interest we're paying is the 193?
That would be your payoff amount. That's how much we currently owe.
Okay.
The total amount of interest you owe over the life of it, I want to say, is $24,000.
Okay. Yeah, I agree too. I think keeping it in house, it eliminates that, and it actually gives us the ability to accelerate that a little bit more, because instead of paying that interest, we can put it toward that principal and knocking it down.
Commissioner Martin.
Dallas, do you know roughly how much that would leave in reserves? Should we take out the 365?
It would leave about 1.2 million
Okay.
in the general fund reserves,
Okay.
unassigned general fund reserves.
Sure. Well, certainly if we can get debt paid off, I'm always in favor of that. And certainly the savings is a little icing on the cake, considering the extra expenses that we had. They kind of offset some of those expenses. So I concur with the other 3 speakers.
Commissioner Coleman.
Yeah, number 2 is the way to go. Real quick, Dallas, what is the debt, the interest rate at Capital City?
2.28%.
You don't see that in a lifetime again. Yeah, certainly if we're going to be paying debt off, I think that's the way to go. I'm with the rest of the guys here.
Commissioner Martin.
I'd go ahead and move a motion reflecting option number 2.
A second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Martin, a second from Commissioner Glanzer. I hope to see that reserve back up to that 1.5 that we celebrated. But I agree, anytime you can pay off debt, it's a good move. Dallas.
For the commission's benefit, the 1.2 does meet our 2 months of operating reserve, so even once we spend this, we still have sufficient reserves for 2
Still
months.
fiscally sound. Okay. All right, we have a motion properly seconded. Staff have anything else to say or comment on?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. Comment, public comment. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, item B, tree trimming and removal contract awards.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tree trimming and removal services is an essential part of our maintenance activities on city right-of-ways, city properties, the cemetery and such. Due to that fact, our existing tree trimming and removal contract had expired, so staff put that out to bid. We received bids on March 26, 2018. There was only one bid received. It was certified in a duly advertised meeting, and Davy Tree Expert Company proposed the only bid, and it's attached in your packet. I would like to note that this is the second time we've tried to bid this service out since the first of the year. We received no responses the first time. There were 262 tree removal companies that were notified through VendorLink as part of our advertisement process. And due to the fact that we didn't receive any bids from the first go-around, I had a staff assistant contact every advertised tree company within 50-mile radius of Newberry to encourage them to put in a bid and to go through our VendorLink process. There were 20 people or 20 companies that picked up plans for the job, but this one bid is the only one that we received. So we are requesting tonight that the commission authorize the city manager to enter into a service agreement with the Davy Tree Expert Company.
Jamie, why do we have such a hard time getting interest in this with all the tree companies that we have in locally around us? Yeah.
I can't really
I
speak.
understand it's a high level of, I mean, it's almost another unit they have to hire to do this because we asked for an aggressive tree trimming policy, but
Well, and this service is basically just when there's a tree removed, you know, in the right-of-way. We have a contract already for our utility trimming and right-of-way trimming with this same company, as a matter of fact. But I do not really understand why we didn't have more response. Working in this area in the past with another municipality, we had no problems whatsoever soliciting these kind of bids for these kind of services.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Manager.
I speculate two things. I think that anytime you hire service work from a municipality or government entity, you have a higher standard of insurance and caretaking because we have the public's money that's at risk here. So we ask for insurances that would adequately protect that. And I think that right now it's a pretty happening market for all service contractors, and there's plenty of work out there to be had without checking those extra boxes that require people that you're required to get to for working for government entities.
Okay. Commission? What's your pleasure? We have one bid. I have a motion to accept the bid from Commissioner Martin and a second from Commissioner Glanzer. Any comments or questions from the dais? Commissioner Martin?
I don't know if this is a question for Mike or Jamie, but is there an opportunity for us to piggyback that utility contract and combine them, or potentially combine this with maybe High Springs and Archer to get a bigger job that they may be a little bit more interested in?
I haven't explored piggybacking with another municipality, but I did plan and intend to work as many of these removals as possible during our annual utility right-of-way trimming. The only time that wouldn't be covered is if we, you know, have a tree that has an issue. The rest of the year that we determine is a threat to public safety or whatnot, and we need to have it removed.
Anyone else? Jamie, if the company does damage to private property when they take out, is there a clause in here that says they'll go back in and fix it? If the tree comes down and leaves a big trench or rut in someone's yard, will they come back in and fix the yard, or is that on us?
They're supposed to mitigate any damages from the removal.
Okay.
A lot of times with our utility right-of-way removal, if it's something where we're picking up the debris and not them, you know, it's hard to determine whether it was their issue or ours, and the city will come in and mitigate the damage.
Okay. All right. Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Motion passes unanimously. Don't go anywhere, Jamie. Road resurfacing award.
As the commission is aware, we went through an extensive process to classify all the roads in Newberry, determine what level of service they had, whether they needed attention in the next 10 years or they were in immediate need of attention. And from that, we adopted some changes to the capital improvement element of our comprehensive plan that says that we could select from that inventory and that we could apply our gas tax revenue towards those projects, and we budget for those in our capital improvement plan every year. So what we're asking for tonight is Commission's authorization to move forward with the milling and resurfacing of Southwest 257th and Southwest 258th. We put this out for bid as well. We had 8 respondents that bid. We evaluated the bids and determined the lowest responsive and responsible bidder was Hicks Seal Coating and Striping LLC, doing business as Hicks Asphalt and Paving and Concrete at a base bid of $103,615 and an ad alternate one of $10,850. Staff is drafting a contract for review by the city attorney and is requesting that the commission authorize and approve the city manager to execute a contract with Hicks Seal Coating and Striping LLC to resurface Southwest 257th and 258th Street in the amount of $114,465 and authorize the city manager to approve change orders not to exceed 10% of the contract amount.
You know, I'm excited about this because this is one of those policies that we were mentioning that we talked about 3 years ago, somewhere in there. And we said we need to get this on a model so that we have a way to go about this. And to see this come to fruition tonight is exciting. So I had to get that comment in. And now I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion from Commissioner McGehee, a second from Commissioner Farnsworth. Questions or comments to staff? Commissioner Glanzer?
I have a quick question. 255th, right out here and north, is that on the agenda to get paved anytime soon, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head what we classified that as, but we classified every single road in the city limits of Newberry as a 1, 2, or 3 as far as when the attention was needed, whether it was for paving or milling and resurfacing.
That's the beauty of this program, is that now every single road, we don't know them off the top of our heads, but every single road you want to know about, you can come in and we can tell you where
When
it's
it's gonna be
classified, why it got that way, and then roughly a time estimate for when it would be. City Manager? You wanna-
I just understood that was going to be soon, and I don't see it.
Just to, I think to clarify, and Jamie, please step in. I believe that we categorized paving unpaved roads differently than resurfacing
That is correct.
previously paved roads, and so that would fall under a different classification. If you're talking about converting an unpaved road to a paved road, we think that, if I recall correctly, that we see that as a potential grant project through the state of Florida through using a low to moderate income survey with our grant writer. As soon as we clear a couple of other grants that have been holding us out there, it should qualify for that, and so we think we're going to take a different funding source. The funding source for this is the local option fuel tax, so which we just re-upped, and in 6 years we'll be paying a significantly bigger dividend. But we do have a plan for every street in town, to the mayor's point, and this is for repaving existing paved streets.
That is correct, and we basically take road segments in a linear, footage that we know will meet the amount that we have in the capital improvement plan annually. So we try to extend that out and get as many feet of road resurfaced or surfaced as possible.
Commissioner Martin?
I'm sure the assignments are kind of goals and they're not set in stone. Things happen here and there, washouts, whatnot. Is there going to be somewhere that's published for citizens to look up their roads online or anything like that, or can we try to effort that?
We can effort towards that. We have the road inventory. We actually discussed it during the budget workshop process, and we can bring it back certainly. One thing I did forget to mention, we actually kind of rolled another project up into this. Another thing this commission was good enough to put into capital improvement plan was the installation or repair and reinstallation of sidewalks, and we were able to get a good bit of sidewalks involved in this bid. So not only will it be milling and resurfacing 257th and 258th, it will be replacing a good bit of the sidewalks where they go by bounds air conditioning that have exceeded their used and useful lifespan.
Well, it's fantastic that has been done. That's going to be a fantastic tool for this commission for a long time. I'm glad you guys finally got that done. Thank you.
And to Commissioner Martin's point, the classifications have criteria, so staff will be able to, if something happens, to reassess. They won't even have to come to us. It'll just be about whether the road fits the criteria, and then roads can, so it's a fluid situation that will be able to be updated as we go through.
When it rolls off the low classification and has improvement, it automatically rolls back to the high classification, so we can program for it 10, 15, 20 years down the road.
Other comments from the commission? Public comment? Hearing none, all those in, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion passes unanimously. All right, we are on to comment. City manager, is there something going on this weekend that you want?
Maybe, maybe, but it's way down my list. I'll try to be brief. We met last week with U.S. Congressman Yoho, Florida Senator Perry, and Florida Representatives Clemens and Watson to kind of overview the Newberry Agritech Innovation Park. I thought it was a very positive meeting. A lot of excitement, a commitment to help where they could. No one brought their checkbook, but a commitment to help where they could, and introduce us to the right folks to help further the concept. So I thought it was a particularly strong meeting to have. We're getting the word out there, and I now bump into people that say, I've heard about it. Can you tell me more? It's a good place to be. We had mediation with Capital City Bank last week.
Hang on one second, Mike, before you move away from that point. I just wanted, I walked out of that meeting with Yoho and Senator Perry and Representative Watson and Clovis very excited. You know, Congressman Yoho sits on an ag committee. Both Watson and Watson and Clemens sit on an ag committee up in Tallahassee, and all of the elected officials there were very excited. They all had ideas that just flew out of them spontaneously, and they all committed that if we have our ducks in a row by the time they're in session again, that they'll be going after the funds that we need to get the infrastructure in. So I think the city manager is probably rightly being more cautious in his words, but I was very excited about the amount of enthusiasm that came out of that, and I think he's right. The more we're talking about it, the more other folks are bringing it up to us, and I feel the momentum for this concept coming to fruition. It's becoming to be more real to me, and so I'm hopeful that I can't wait for next session. So I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's perfectly fine. We conducted mediation with Capital City Bank last week. It was a productive mediation, in my opinion, and Scott knows a lot more about those things than I, but we did not achieve a settlement, so hopefully we've moved the ball some, and hopefully we have an opportunity to resolve the conflict sooner than later. We hosted a meeting with the Gainesville-Alachua County Association of Realtors today, GACAR as they're known. It was the commercial realtors in the county. We overviewed Newberry. We overviewed our Newberry Agritech Innovation Park. Again, another very positive meeting. The concept for that came from one of our best businesses in town, which is the Gourmet Rodent, who needed a place to go and had never thought about Newberry. Our city attorney had shared with their corporate attorney how cool what a cool place Newberry was, and we just learned, and that's what brought them to Newberry. That's what got them interested in Newberry. And so our staff's concept is we're going to make sure that every industry professional in the real estate industry and the planning industry and the real estate legal side of the industry knows Newberry's story, and when someone asks them about, hey, I'm looking, Newberry clicks and they're here. So that's what's behind that and all these meetings to showcase Newberry and our innovation park.
I'm just going to jump all over your comments tonight because that meeting I thought was also very productive, because one of the comments that both Congressman Yoho and Senator Perry made, as well as the realtors, that they've never been to a city of 6,000 and had presentations like they got from our staff at both of those meetings. Both of those meetings, they left impressed with the city of Newberry just for the steps that we are taking to encourage commercial development. So I wanted to pass my appreciation on to staff for not just putting these meetings together, but for representing us so well in those meetings that everybody leaves completely impressed with the city of Newberry. And that's the last time I'm going to interrupt.
That works.
Well, we'll see what your next comment is.
That's correct. We received our wholesale power rates for March, and normally I don't mention this. They were just ridiculously low. We were second lowest in our pool of 13, so that's just great news to share with you. And our residents, you'll see a low a lower than usual PCR this coming up in the next meeting, and our residents are seeing lower electric rates all the time. That's a great job. And I will tell you that in Orlando, former Mayor Conrad is really advocating for Newberry. And they are making some decisions in Orlando that are benefiting our ratepayers. The FDOT State Road 26 PD&E study is coming back to Newberry for a public meeting sometime at the end of April, early May, and then it'll be in front of this commission. I heard one of our realtors say today, well, when is DOT ever going to do anything? They keep talking about it. And the answer to that is DOT is going to do something when we have a community consensus. They're asking this board to a resolution as to what they want, and then they will move forward and go find funding for design. And once they have design in place, they will have funding for construction. So, but if we wait 10, 20 years to make that resolution and to develop that consensus, then that's how long it'll take, that much more time for road construction. We met with the county to discuss their wetlands ordinance implementation. It's a positive meeting. They've really worked to make it as painless as possible. We asked some questions about preemption, whether we could administer the policy by having an equal or more stringent ordinance. It's going to take a little work, but there's a willingness on the county's part to entertain that from Newberry above all other cities. We have the right combination of pretty adept staff and very, very few wetlands that they feel comfortable with passing the mantle to us to allow us to do that type of wetlands. So it was a very positive meeting with their staff. We are going to bring before you just some concepts in recreation. We're going to have a conversation about Diamond Sports Park coming up. This is a little bit of a preview. We're going to have a conversation about doing after school and summer rec programs a little bit differently than we have. We've got some concepts to bring to you within the next 4 to 8 weeks. Well, most of you in the next 4 to 8 weeks. I'm sorry, Jason. And then we have the last two items I'll get to, 3 items. Newberry 101, new commissioner orientation next Tuesday, April 17th. That's more for you candidates that have not sat, but hopefully if you're a sitting commissioner, you'll come and sit through the joy. And then the following Monday at 6 p.m., it's a workshop before our next meeting, is ethics, public records, sunshine laws. 1 hour, I promise you, you can't cover all there is to know in 1 hour, but it'll be the entry. It'll be a reinforcement for some, and it'll be an entry for others. And then finally, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to tell you, I'm very sorry that we have not even shared with the commission or the community much about what's going on in Newberry. We have a big music festival coming up this weekend. Hit it, Amy.
Hey, North Central Florida, it's that time of year again. Mark your calendar Sunday, April 15th at Lois Fort Park for the 2018 Newberry West Fest, presented by Waste Pro. West Fest is a free, family-friendly festival, so bring the kids for an afternoon of activities and great music. We will have some of the best talent in the area on stage, as well as country music star Mo Pitney. Mark your calendars April 15th for an afternoon of fun. West Fest is funded in part by Visit Gainesville in Alachua County.
We are going to have a great time at West Fest, and to the mayor's point about high production video footage, things that make Newberry look good. That commercial's out there. We're going to be on TV 20 Wednesday morning sharing this. I challenge every commissioner to share that video on their Facebook page, get folks out. We think we're going to have a really good turnout. It's free to come. Doesn't cost Newberry's taxpayers a penny, a little bit of sweat equity, but all the funds have been raised externally to put this thing on, and we're going to have a great time. We're just praying for good weather. So that concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Awesome things coming up in the very near future. City Attorney? Madam Clerk? Sure. Yes, ma'am. Always good to make sure.
Okay. Tomorrow is Election Day in the city of Newberry, and I encourage all of our electors to please get out and vote. I know we're not expecting good weather, but it is so important to represent your body, your governing body. The canvassing board will be meeting here in this room at 6:30 to canvass the vote by mail ballots. And there will be a special meeting on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. We're going to have a special guest, Judge Griffin. Did I have that correctly?
Griffiths.
I'm sorry.
Griffiths.
Griffiths, sorry, will be swearing in 3 city commissioners. So I invite everyone to come, and that should be very nice. And then the canvassing board will meet Thursday at 11:30, and we will be doing an audit on our election equipment. So I think that's it for now. I don't have a West Fest to talk about.
That's
so
hey,
most
the
exciting
Newberry
about
elections
the
are the most exciting thing happening. And don't forget Commissioner McGee's challenge. It's hashtag beat Gainesville 13.51% voter turnout. Rain or shine, we're beating 13%, right? We'll
Yes,
go
we
get them.
are.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
And thank you.
We appreciate it. Commissioner Coleman?
On the video, I'm so glad that we are showing the windmills that we have all over Newberry. Mike, I'd really like for you to, I've been here a long time and I want to go see those windmills. All right, the last 4 years we've been actually getting our house in order, and we've done a really good job of that. And with that, I mean, we didn't have to sit back and go, yeah, okay, that 2 point whatever is the best percentage rate we got. Let's stay here, whatever. We had a choice because of what we did the last 4 years. We had a choice. Finally, we could say, you know what? Let's take it out of here and go ahead and get rid of the interest rate. I mean that. I look back at what we've done the last 4 years between that and the capital improvement plan. I mean, that's pretty good. But with that, I hope if I'm here or not here, with the staff, it's time, guys. I know I did this last meeting, but where it's prudent, we need to increase our staff. I think after the 4 years and what we've cut, what we haven't cut, and I know there's probably going to be some more cuts, but when it comes to working with our infrastructure here, I'm seeing that staff is the main thing that we got to work on, even if it's all the way to sewage and water to if it's rec, wherever it's at, we need it. I'm seeing some of those things, but I'm not going to just pinpoint them out. But that's something that we really, when it comes budget time, we need to go over. And with that, I'd also, I want to thank Ms. Baker for being just above board this whole election. She's been very nice. She's actually, compared to the other elections, this has been actually awesome. So good luck tomorrow, and it'll land where it lands. Thank you.
Commissioner McGehee, one last time.
One last time. Like you were saying about going out and voting, you know, that was what, 13, a little over 13%. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, even saying that though, I actually called the city clerk this morning to find out what our average is. Our average is about 17%, which relatively speaking, that's pretty good. But if you think about it, 17% of the eligible voters come out and vote in these things. That means 1 in nearly 6 people vote for us to be up here. And for people to sit out there and, you know, and complain, you know, the whole, you know, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Well, you know, I hear people saying, you know, we need to do this, we need to do that. And it's, you know, I feel like I vote and my voice isn't heard. Well, when there's 17% turnout, it's a pretty good chance your voice isn't being heard. And, you know, I really encourage people to come out. I know it's going to be hard with the weather like it is, but you know, this is really important. This is the one thing. If you don't want to sit up here with us, if you don't want to serve on a committee, this is the one time of the year you can do something to actually make a difference in your city. If you never do anything else, just go out and vote. And then finally, I've been following the elections in the city to our north, and I'm not going to name. And you know, I just want to encourage you all to just keep innovating, because one of the things I saw was there was a candidate that was saying, you know, we really need to create an app for our city. And I thought that was so funny, you know. I mean, because I'm thinking, I really want to get on here and say, well, we've had one for 3 years. But, you know, I think that's what separates. We're never going to be the biggest, but I think with the creative people up here, the people that are willing to kind of push the envelope and be innovative, that we can by far be the best. I mean, you've seen it with the stuff that we've done, the improvements that we've done with customer service and becoming more, you know, customer centric around, or customer service, you know, in dealing with our customers, which are our citizens. So just ask for y'all to keep up the good work, and I'll be sitting on the sidelines watching, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Farnsworth.
Yeah, I would like to say that serving up here is a job, but it's also a privilege, and it's an honor to actually have people that support you and put you in this position, that they put their trust in you to make decisions that affect their lives. And I do hope people do come out tomorrow and vote. I'm going to mention the golf tournament that's coming Saturday. I think I'm the reigning champion of that. Is that the one?
It might be. It might be. I think the picture is probably.
So, but I encourage others to come out to the golf tournament for the golf team at Newberry High School, and you know, somebody please give me a challenge.
I'm pretty sure the last time you won, you were wearing the Gator hoodie, right? Is that is that right? It might have been your lucky charm.
But it's been fun. If I'm not here after this, it's been great working with you guys.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Martin.
Well, quite honestly, this position, like Monty said, is a privilege to be here. It is one of the highest honors that we really have in our little small town. It's nothing that any of us take very lightly. I hope to see the both of you sitting up here at the next meeting. I think we have one of the best teams that I have seen since I've lived here in the last 14 years or so. And an incumbent's biggest worry is their supporters don't come out thinking that they already have it in the bag tomorrow. So don't be one of those people if we end up with a low turnout because of weather, then each vote is that more important just based on a percentage. So if your person is in the race and you want to support them, do not miss the opportunity to come by. I don't even think it takes 10 minutes anymore to come in and cast your ballot. So please do something. This small thing that you do is just part of a bigger picture, but it really sets the wheels in motion for things to come. So it's very, very important that we do that. If in fact, Rick or Monty, you do get beat tomorrow and we have even more new faces up here, I know the character of men that you are, you will still be very supportive of what the commission does and your replacements, just the kind of guys that you are. And I will lean on your voice and your opinions, whether we are here together or not tomorrow. But thank you very much, and I will turn over to Ms. Joy.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Glanzer.
Thank you. This may be late, but I just saw it in the Gainesville Sun this morning that the Newberry High School Criminal Justice Academy is a state champion, and it's the third time in a row. So I wanted to say congratulations to them. Last week, also, Jordan invited me to a meeting. It was set up by the pastors of our community. We have an opioid crisis, if you didn't know that. And our pastors in this community have stepped forward, and they've created a group that they're going to raise awareness. And Senator Perry, Representative Clemens, and Commissioner Lee Pinkeson were there. And everybody, it was a great first meeting. It's just a groundswell that's going to happen. So be looking for that and support that in our community. That was a great event today with GACAR. I was so proud to be a part of this community. I could have just busted. I wanted to get up and just scream because all these Gainesville and Alachua County commercial realtors got to come out here and see what we've done and saw the groundwork we've laid for business and industry to come to our community, and it was a very proud moment. Thanks for all the work you put into that, putting it on. Thank you, Jason, again, for all your inspiration, and I wish you all the good life. Good luck tomorrow to all the candidates. It's been a wonderful race. Compared to last year, it was just lovely. That's all I'm going to say.
It's always so.
That's all I'm going to say. And the last thing is, I want to remind who's ever sitting up here as commissioners that there is a mechanical bull on Sunday, and there will be a challenge with staff to ride that mechanical bull till you fall off. And that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll start obviously by issuing a reminder for the mywaterpledge.com challenge. Your wives can take it, your kids can take it, anybody who has a Facebook account, anybody who has a email account. Gainesville specifically called us out. So we're not only going to beat their voting turnout tomorrow, we're going to beat them in the water conservation challenge as well. So please, we already got to beat Archer. Now it's hashtag beat Gainesville and hashtag beat Archer. Whoever else tries to come in, they just don't know what we can do. So mywaterpledge.com takes about 3 minutes. You won't get any spam email. I took my pledge a couple weeks ago. Nothing has happened. It's been great. Also, if you didn't get a chance to watch any of the debates, they're all on YouTube. If you are still undecided, go watch them. I want to thank the Newberry High School Student Government Association. I thought they did a great job this year. I appreciate all the candidates for participating and for being good models for the students about how you debate and how you can participate in this process, agree to disagree, and do it civilly. So, and thank you obviously to staff, and particularly Ms. Amy back there, who always keeps us up and running. She was here 3 different nights that week. I know we were all tired from doing it, but if we're up here, she's up here as well. So thank you.
She's quick on the 2-minute buzzer, though. She's really quick on that.
I also want to invite everybody to the Panther Open. Its tee-off is at 9 a.m. on Saturday before the West Fest on Sunday. We've got plenty of spots. It's a 4-man scramble, so it's pretty quick, 4-person scramble. But if you got 1 or 2 people, come on out, and we'll join you in with someone. If you've got a business and you want to sponsor, I have a couple holes left that need to be sponsored. At the West Fest Bull Riding Challenge, I'm taking you all down. Just let you know. Just let you know. I just let you know. So I will line you up. And Commissioner Glanzer brought it up. I met with a group called the Health and Wellness Promotion Organization. They're a state-run organization, and the only thing that this group does is collect data on adolescent substance abuse. And I met with her 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the data that she presented to me shows that Alachua County is the number 2 county in the entire state for opioid addiction. And we are off from being number 1 by 0.1%. Taylor County is number 1. Alachua County is number 2. Recently, I lost another student, and his path began with drug addiction to his end. And so this has struck me hard as a commissioner. I was always told that there's a drug issue in Newberry. We pass those tips and information on to ASO. We do the best that we can. But I can't be a leader in a county that is ranked number 2 with opioid addiction and not do something. It was a fortuitous night. Pastor Rocky from McKinley from DCC was here shortly after I learned that information, and I asked him to help put together that pastors meeting. And then right after that, we had the meeting with Congressman Yoho and Keith Perry, and every single elected official at that meeting wanted to come. Keith Perry and Representative Clemens and Lee Pings were able to make it. So I look forward to working with this organization, the Health and Wellness Promotion. It's a mouthful. They do not come up with strategies to address it. That's not what they do. They give you the data and the stats to let you know what the problem is. So what I am hopeful at building a coalition among our churches is that we can bring the community leaders together and bring our minds together, and we can all figure out first what may be the cause of why Alachua County is number 2, and then maybe we can figure out some ways that we can move this needle. So I will be bringing her to present to you guys shortly. She's got an idea that I think is an interesting plan, and so look forward to having more of that. To me, this is a long haul issue. I'm not going to get behind a plan until I have more data, more information, more feedback from leaders. But once we all do come up with a plan, I'm hopeful that everybody in this community, because that's really what this is going to take, community buy-in to address this issue. But number 2 is not a title that we want. And it's affecting so many of our young people. And we've got to target it in middle school, because by the time they get to high school, they're already addicted. That's where we're at with this issue, which is also a scary revelation. You know, you don't think that you have to deal with these things until high school, but by the time they're in high school, they're already addicted to it. So on that sober note, I apologize for ruining the moment of levity, and we'll open it up to public comment.
Shouldn't sit so far back in the corner. My name is Jessica Mrozinski Baker, and I am running for City Commission in Group 1. I hope I see everyone tomorrow out at the polls voting. Bring your umbrella. I might need an umbrella and the tent, considering how much it's supposed to rain, and it's supposed to, of course, rain hardest between 5 and 7. I also want to thank Jason for one of the things that got me back involved after my dad died was reading his write-ups of the meetings every week, and it kept my sanity. And I just want to touch on the fact that while this election has been a lot tamer than most in our past, none of us are running because we don't love Newberry. The current commissioners who are running love Newberry, the candidates love Newberry, and even though this election cycle has been tame, I can tell you that if we didn't, we would have quit. Because you're put under a microscope, and people say things to you to your face that you never imagined they would say to you. And it's hard on ourselves, it's hard on our families, and so I'm very glad that at least the candidates, all of us, have tried to keep it very respectful and kind this election season. I do think that perhaps as a sort of penance, we should take the largest forum mouths and have to make them run for commission at some point. It would be fitting. They could see what it's like on the other side. So again, I hope to see you all tomorrow. Last year there were 697 votes, I believe. So I think we can definitely top that if you're willing to get out there in the rain. We get 700, that's only 3 more. 800, 850, 900. That'd be a great turnout, so I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Absolutely. Welcome.
I'm a little taller than Jessica. My name is Matt Hersom, and first I'd like to thank Commissioner Jason McGehee for his service to Newberry and his support to me. And I'd like to thank my 2 opponents for the Group 2 seat. Both Mark Clark and Walt Boyer have been honorable men, and I appreciate the contest that we've had. I'm running for the Newberry City Commission Group 2 seat because I believe I can make a positive difference for Newberry, and should I get elected, I can represent all the citizens in Newberry, both new and established. My family and I have called Newberry home for 14 years. I'm a professor at IFAS. I work with beef cattle. That's what I do. My wife is a school nurse at Newberry High School. My children have attended school in Newberry. We've attended Destiny Community Church, and for 4 years we organized a community charity event, the Sam Strong 5K. Many people know who Sam is in town. I've served 2 terms on the Planning and Zoning Board and the Historic Architecture Review Board and serve as chairman for both boards. This responsibility has given me a good appreciation for Newberry's growth over the last 4 years, and I would come to the commission if elected with direct experience with Newberry city government. I have a vision for Newberry that includes expanding commercial and business opportunities to support our growing population and balance our residential growth and provide business amenities for our residents. We all know that agriculture has been important to Newberry, and I can be an additional resource to Newberry as the city works to develop the agri-tech commercial venture that's going to partner hopefully with UF and other entities. And this is a long-term effort, but it looks like it's getting momentum now, and that'll put Newberry in an important economic position. All the commercial and ventures, both the commercial and the agri-tech, can be used as springboards to involve our high school, and that's a good experience for them. Develops more career-oriented occupations, more education for our students, and solves some of the problems that we have from that we would have with them. I have skills and abilities to be a great commissioner and a great teammate. I can make honest, impartial decisions not clouded by emotion. I'm not beholden to any particular group or faction in the city, and I have a voice of my own. I can speak on behalf of Newberry, particularly before the Board of County Commissioners, without having them have preconceived opinions about me. Newberry is changing and growing, and we're at a critical junction in our history with our growing population, our fiscal responsibility, so we need to move forward. And how do we do that? We move forward by being innovative and selecting a candidate that can bridge all the generations, respect all residents, and represent Newberry in the county and beyond. I believe I can do that. I can represent all of our population with my vision and skills. I believe I'm the best candidate for the Group 2 seat and for that job, and I'm asking for your support and your vote on April 10th. Brave the rain, paddle if you must, bring a life preserver if you need to, but come out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comment?
David Wallace, candidate for Group 3. I'm pretty sure just about everybody's made up their mind who they're voting for, but just in case there's anyone left out there and they're still flipping a coin, I know it's the 0 hour, but my mom finally endorsed me. I don't have it in writing, and she doesn't Facebook, so you'll have to take my word for it. Unfortunately, she can't vote, so if there's any sympathy votes out there, I'm more than happy to take them. The biggest thing is come out and vote tomorrow. Your candidate can't win if you don't support them. And the only way you can really support them is to turn in your vote. Doesn't matter who you're voting for. Just hope to see everybody at the polls.
Thank you. Any other citizen comment? Well, I will end the night with one last announcement. The Newberry High School girls golf team will be present after school in the midst of the storm to escort residents with their big golf umbrellas from their car into the municipal building. So if the rain is what's keeping you away, come talk about Newberry golf and have a young lady bring you into the municipal building nice and dry. And with that, we will be adjourned.
Hey, North Central Florida, it's that time of year again. Mark your calendar Sunday, April 15th at Lois Fort Park, 2018.
What's that? I wish